I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're diving into a powerful book. It is called Torrent. It is a high-stakes legal thriller that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Attorney turned author Anthony B. Gray delivers a pulse-pounding story where justice isn't found in a courtroom, it's fought for in the wild. With deception, danger, and human trafficking lurking in the shadows, this is a must-read for fans of suspense, action, and legal drama. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below the interview. And be sure to download the Spotlight Network TV app streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Anthony, thank you so much for joining me here today on Spotlight.
Thanks for having me, Logan.
My pleasure. Samuel Ross is a lawyer thrust into a deadly situation. Talk to us a little bit about this character. Is he a little bit of you? And tell us about the challenges he faces.
I think he is, thanks for the kind words. He is obviously, I draw a little bit of inspiration from myself as an attorney. Um, but yeah, I think a little bit of myself and when I was started writing this book, I was having some personal situations that I was going through. And so I thought I would try to harness that energy in a creative way. And I've always been fascinated with writing and just human nature in general, right? And just the intersection of like justice and human nature have always fascinated me.
Exactly.
So that was kind of what encouraged me to start writing this character. And I always knew that I wanted to kind of explore a story where the protagonist was an attorney, just because I have that experience. And there's just so many skills and things that we learn and use that sometimes I feel have practical applications outside the courtroom.
Yeah,
So that
absolutely. And
was,
write what you know is important. You know about law, it's important. And also, you know about the limitations of the legal system. So
yes,
when you have those frustrations, you can turn to your imagination and do a what if, well, what if this happened in order for justice to be carried out, right? Yeah.
exactly. And so
Wonderful.
as I've been practicing law for over 18 years,
Mhm.
and I started off as a prosecutor, just a line prosecutor, doing all kinds of crimes. And so that's kind of how I got introduced into this kind of, unfortunate world of, trafficking and drug smuggling and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So some of that experience that I had from those years kind of spawned this story.
Yeah.
So that was some life experience that I had, and also just as my years as an attorney, I just have kind of a unique insight I feel into how human beings handle crisis,
Hmm.
and so I kind of wanted to explore that further.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, as a prosecutor, you're dealing with people in their darkest hours, no
Right.
doubt. People who really seem like they have no path forward. And in many cases, they don't. They're
Mhm.
career criminals. They've been caught up in the system for a long time. They're going to stay mired in it, unfortunately,
Mhm.
because that's just how the system works right now. It doesn't really rehabilitate people. It just punishes them and incarcerates them. And as you
Right.
know, usually drugs are at the heart of the issue, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
Your
correct.
your book deals with human trafficking. It's a very real, very terrifying issue. I know you said you had some knowledge of this from your caseloads.
Mhm.
Did you have to do more research? Tell us a little bit about this aspect of the story.
I did. I had very limited knowledge from my experience, so I did do some more research. And as my years progressed as an attorney, I transitioned into pharmacy law.
Mhm.
And one of the things I would teach and educate pharmacists on what to look for when people would come in to get drugs, what type of drugs to look for that might be indicative of trafficking, right?
Yeah.
And then we subsequently had several seminars with federal agencies about things to look for and things that happen. And one of the things that came from that was they said a lot of trafficking happens in like campsites or campgrounds, people with
Hmm.
trailers, because they're not really, patrolled or regulated. And so when I heard that, that's kind of what the spark was for this idea of setting this in like a camp, like a hiking canyon, because I was like, oh, people sometimes do this horrible act with, in campgrounds and stuff. So that's kind of how that idea came about.
Hmm.
But I did do a lot of research, a lot of readings about the intense issue with human trafficking when it comes to Native American territories.
Yeah.
I did some research on that as well. So I did look into that. Part of being a lawyer is we research, right? So I was
Hmm.
definitely researching because, while this is a fiction thriller, it is a significant issue that still unfortunately exists today.
Yeah, and you don't think of human trafficking in wilderness or campsite type settings. You
Right.
envision it happening in big cities, in
Mhm.
areas like Roosevelt and Queens, that kind of thing. You
Mhm.
don't really picture it happening in, Canyon Park and other
Right.
areas. Yeah, so that is a unique aspect of the story. Have you envisioned this book as a movie, perhaps, or a TV series?
So it's funny because when I started writing it, I was thinking about it as if I was watching,
Yeah.
So I'm writing, especially when you're writing the dialogue and the characters, and I have some ideas of like if this person was, on the screen, they would look like this. So
Yeah.
I did kind of have that thought. I would love for to explore this further and to write more with this character and the story, and possibly make it a television show or a movie. That would be an option. But I love reading. I also love television and movies, and
Mhm.
so I was kind of thinking in that way as I was writing, especially since this was my first novel.
Yeah. Well, it's worked out for Dick Wolf. He's done pretty
Yeah,
good
yeah.
in producing legal and procedural dramas for TV. So hopefully
Mhm.
you have a little bit of his karma going for you. And
So
Hollywood listens, and here's this great story that is ready to go, no doubt. How do you hope Torrent sparks conversations about justice and morality?
I think there's a couple of things that I hope that it sparks conversation about. I mean, obviously it's a thriller,
Mhm.
but I think my idea is at its heart, it's a story about redemption and compassion.
Mhm.
And that's kind of the things that I want to take away from this story. I mean, I want what I want to kind of transfer is that sometimes you have to get outside your comfort zone, right? And
Mhm.
do things that you might not even think you're capable of, but also that you need to exercise a little bit of self reflection and compassion.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of what I was thinking when I was writing Samuel. He's obviously was not that comes from me that he was self-absorbed, but he's obviously has his ways and the way that he is, and I think he had a journey from like an analytical lawyer, right, to like a determined warrior, right. So he had
Yeah.
to literally transform himself, and that required self-reflection, and it required compassion because he had to make that decision if he was going to try to save these young ladies that have been kidnapped.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I want people to get from it, is that you have that ability to transform, um, if you just give yourself a little self-reflection, because that's seems it's hard to do, right? It's the hardest thing to do. um, and then just a little bit more compassion for others and wanting to help other people. So
Mhm.
those are kind of the key tenets that I wanted to get out of that I was trying to convey as I was writing the story.
Yeah, well, I think you were successful on all of those levels. Let me ask you this. Is there a sequel or another novel in the work?
I have some ideas.
Okay.
Like I said, I had a lot of research, that I still want to implement, and I kind of, no spoilers, but I kind of left it open that there could be other things coming in the down the pipe for especially for this character, Samuel Ross. So yeah, I've got some ideas. I'm going to start outlining.
Who would play Samuel Ross in your film or TV show?
Oh gosh, I don't know. There's so many people.
Right.
I don't. Gosh, I know. I would love for like my ideal would be like someone like Michael B. Jordan to play
Oh
Silverhawk.
yeah.
You know,
It's funny
I
because
know
I was
that's
thinking maybe a
shooting for the
young
stars.
Denzel Washington, but
Yeah,
that's
that
kind of a
could work.
Michael B. Jordan, right?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
thinking like a Michael B. Jordan type as
Yeah.
I was writing, but
Yeah.
I'm open to anybody.
Absolutely. Sounds great. Well, folks, the name of the book is Torrent. It is a high stakes legal thriller that will keep you on the edge of your seat. It's written by a terrific author, a terrific attorney. His name is Anthony B. Gray, and he delivers a pulse pounding story where justice isn't found in a courtroom. It is fought for in the wild with deception, danger, and human trafficking lurking in the shadows. This is a must read for fans of suspense, action, and legal drama. Anthony, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time until next time on Spotlight.